Sometimes the closure you're waiting for is never coming. You keep thinking that one day they will explain themselves. They will apologize. They will finally tell you why. Maybe you will be able to let it go. But what if that conversation never happens? What if you never get the answer you wanted? It's not the lack of an answer, it's the belief that you need one. When something ends badly, our minds don't like the unfinished stories. We want to know what happened. Why did they change? Why did they leave? Did they ever really care? Was it something I did? So we replay everything. The conversations, the arguments, the moments we wish we would have handled things differently. We imagine what we could have said, what they should have said. And somewhere in all of that, we start believing that if we can just understand the past well enough, we will finally be able to move on. But there is a problem. Sometimes there is no explanation that will make it feel okay. Imagine someone hurts you deeply. For months, you think about what happened. You imagine conversation you would have with them. You imagine them finally admitting what they did. Them finally saying, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. And you convince yourself that once you hear those words, you will finally be free. Then one day, they actually apologize. And for a moment, you feel the relief you were waiting for. But then you realize something. The apology didn't erase what happened. The explanation didn't change the outcome. And the past is still the past. Because sometimes what we are really searching for is not an explanation. We are searching for a different ending. Think about how often we argue with things that have already happened. I shouldn't have trusted them. I should have noticed earlier. They should not have treated me that way. But none of those thoughts change what happened. They are just different ways of reopening the same wound. The event is over, but mentally, we keep putting it back on trial. We examine the evidence, we question every single detail, we imagine a different outcome. And every time we do, we are asking the past to give us something it can't give us, a different ending. You can't change what happened by understanding it one more time. Maybe you have been waiting for someone to explain why they hurt you. But consider this. What if they never do? What if they don't understand what they did? What if they don't regret it? What if they remember the situation completely differently? Does that mean you can't move forward? No. Because your healing can't depend on someone else's ability to give you the answer you need. You don't need them to admit they hurt you, for the pain to be real. You don't need their apology to know what happened was wrong. And you don't need them to understand your perspective to finally walk away from the situation. This is where acceptance comes in. Acceptance doesn't mean saying, I like what happened. It doesn't mean it was fair. And it doesn't mean you have to forgive someone. It simply means this happened, I can't change it, and I'm not going to keep destroying my present by fighting my past. Because acceptance is not giving up. It's stopping the argument with reality. And once you stop asking, why did this happen? You can finally start asking, what do I do now? That's where your power comes back. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. You can still wish it had gone differently. You can still feel emotional about it, but you don't have to keep carrying it everywhere you go. You can learn from it without living inside it. You can acknowledge what someone did without spending the rest of your life trying to understand them. And you can close a chapter, even if the other person never gives you the final sentence. Because closure doesn't always come from a conversation. Sometimes, closure is a decision. The decision to stop waiting, to stop checking, to stop replying, to stop imagining that things went differently, to stop asking the same question, hoping that eventually the answer will hurt less. There are things in your life that will never make completely sense. People who won't apologize, relationships that ended without an explanation, questions that will never be answered. And that's painful. But you don't have to solve every mystery from your past before you're allowed to move forward. Sometimes the answer is simply, it happened, it hurt, I learned from it, and I'm choosing to keep going. Because you stop chasing closure when you realize you're not really looking for an answer anymore. You are looking for a different past, and the past you can't change. So stop waiting for one more conversation. Stop waiting for one more explanation. Stop waiting for them to finally understand. You don't need their permission to close the chapter. You just need to accept that it's over and give yourself permission to turn the page. Thanks for watching.